So I had a few days off, and I thought, my dopamine and norepinephrine receptors work pretty hard. They deserve a vacation. So I decided to go without Adderall. Just got done sleeping for like 19 hours, and I still feel like a dog's breakfast, but hey, it's always good to take those drug holidays if you can. So I thought I would share with you a little bit of an analysis of internet people, with frequent pauses, because I'm going to have to collect my thoughts slowly. See, I was thinking about what it really means to be introverted and extroverted. Now obviously it's not a dichotomy, and it's not even a spectrum. It's more like a number of different spectra for different types of things. So, a lot of complexities that I'm just feeling lazy. But what got me started on this whole line of thought was a while back, one of my subscribers asked me what my Briggs-Myers personality type was. So I remembered when I took the test, and it's ENTP. Now, it says that, and then it gives you a little description, and I read it, and I'm like, yeah, that's just a description of how I am. I know how I am, motherfucker! How is that helpful to describe me to me? It's not like I'm unaware of how I am. I'm me. I get to observe me on a daily fucking basis. But I started talking to other internet people, and I started to realize introversion and extroversion isn't exactly what I thought it was, because it's not like I'm an overly gregarious type of person. I'm not always just going around chatting people up, going to parties. But when I'm in the company of people, I'm at ease, and I put them at ease, and I'm able to understand where they're coming from. I don't feel intruded upon by this. And people on the internet, as I've noticed, are very, very introverted for the most part. And my perception of this is skewed because, like, I see them making videos and they're just talking endlessly. And endless talking isn't exactly a common feature of your real-life introvert, so I had a little bit of a skewed perception. Thought collecting. Maybe I won't get as distracted now that I don't have to look at those hideous bags under my eyes on the screen while I talk. Now, the introverted thing isn't just like being shy, which is kind of what I've always thought of it as. People, they're afraid to talk to other people. And that's a part of it, but it's basically a manifestation of a deeper mental trait, which is viewing the world in terms of their experiences, their feelings, their thoughts, and the conclusions that they draw from those. Where an extroverted type of personality also considers the perspective of other people, what they're thinking, the conclusions that they are drawing from their experiences, and how they're not inherently wrong. You take that as a factor in what you think, because I often think of introverted people as just being way up inside their own head, can't see past the confines of their own skull. And man, people on the internet, they epitomize this for the most part. Which makes me think of social justice warriors. Now, I was discussing this with the Logic Zone only, and how social justice warriors epitomize an introverted personality type. And he was asking kind of a chicken or egg question. Do you think they gravitate toward the internet because of this, or do you think they're like this because of the internet? And so I naturally responded, it's kind of a classic positive feedback cycle. I think of an extroverted personality actually kind of like an adaptive response to stress. Like, if you run a lot, you'll become better at running. Your lungs, your cardiovascular system, your glucose metabolism efficiency, etc. Or lifting weights, your muscles will become bigger. Now, I think of being an extrovert the same way. If you have an easier way around that, you can take it, but you won't get the bigger muscles and you won't get the bigger running capability. And in this case, you won't get the extroversion properties. Now, back in the day before the internet, if you had an introverted type of personality, you would be forced, absolutely forced, to develop some degree of ability to suss out the mental frameworks that other people have. Even if you wouldn't agree with them, you could at least understand them enough to try to communicate with them effectively. But you have the internet, all you got to do is get online, find a bunch of people with the same, gonna burp, energy drink, sorry, the same type of mental framework, and then just communicate with them and not ever have to get out of your comfort zone. So you're kind of introverted, you get on the internet, you don't have the stress producing the positive adaptation. It's comforting to you, so you become even more introverted and then seek out the internet more, etc., in a increasing cycle of not being able to get your head out of your ass. Until you end up with the social justice warriors who come off as totally socially retarded crazy people because they've taken this to its logical extreme. And they don't really even understand what you're saying. And you can see this. You can say things to them, and then they'll respond to some shit that you clearly didn't say, because they have lost any and all ability to suss out the nuanced difference between different types of mental framework, because they only associate with people who have the same mental framework. It's kind of sad, really. People ask, do you think these social justice warriors are like this in real life? And of course they can't be, because they don't have the freedom to be. And if it weren't for the internet as an outlet to find people with whom they can communicate, i.e. people whose minds are just like theirs, they'd be forced to, overcome that to at least some degree, or become total hermits. Now, I'm a little embarrassed that I missed a few really glaring clues that this is the case. One being that even mildly social justice-y kind of people don't like to Skype. Like, you ask them to Skype, they act like you're asking them for a fucking kidney. Like, oh, no, can't Skype. Oh, there's all these reasons not to Skype. And I didn't realize it because, I don't feel uncomfortable talking to people. It's no big deal, but if you're introverted, talking to people is kind of a risky proposition because you're gonna be all misunderstood, and you're like, I imagine it's just a total out-of-control feeling, like missing a sense, like a blind person trying to play tennis. They don't like conversations in general. They especially don't like conversations with people who clearly have a different mental framework. If they Skype me, they're not getting anything extra out of it, because seeing my face and hearing my voice and how I react to the things that they say, that's nothing. They can't even see it. But I can see them, so they know enough to know that I'm going to have a little bit of an advantage at least, or they just think it's going to descend into total acrimony because they assume that I just, like them, have a rigid mental framework and it's going to end in nothing but bickering. And my Skypes usually don't go that way, although they do usually end up with nudity on one or both parties' parts, depends on how much I'm drinking. But I think if you're introverted, you kind of view yourself at the mercy of social situations. It makes you nervous or something. And I didn't see that, but I should have. And on Twitter there's these 5-star people, like the top tweeters, the elites, and they tend to hate ats, that little thing for when people respond. They're like, oh, look at your timeline, all full of ats, look at those ats. It's disgusting. I'm like, well, why the fuck are you even getting on Twitter? You don't want to have conversations, you just want to tweet and have people star and retweet it, because it makes you feel good about how clever you are. What kind of crazy narcissist are you? But I realized, of course, they don't want conversations. They just want the normal accolades and respect of others that people like to get. But feedback is nothing to them because they can't understand it unless it's exactly the type of feedback they want, in which case there's no point in giving it. So why would they want ats? Why would they want to Skype? Anyway, I'm just gonna end this video with an apology to Hero314, Highflow Day 71. I was saying how introspection is fucking useless, and it's basically just mental masturbation. Why even bother? But that's just because a lot of introverted people tell me that I need to be more introspective, and so I naturally, since they're the types of people saying it, I assumed that it was a facet of how their personality works, in which case I'll have none of it because they, seem kind of blind to me. But I suppose I probably am a bit introspective. It's just that it's not the same thing as what introverted people do, which is just kind of mull over their own thoughts endlessly. To me, excessively introspective people, they seem like glaciers, like trying to persuade them of anything or get any point across to them is mind-numbingly lengthy and laborious to accomplish. It's what I imagine it's like being the Flash. It's like, I have experienced years of subjective time while you have very slowly mulled this shit over in your head endlessly and gotten nowhere. You're pissing me off. It's what it feels like to me. I'm a bit impatient that way, I suppose you could say. Sometimes I start calling people names. Maybe I should get that under control. But yeah, I guess introspection isn't probably bad unless you do it like that, where... Oh, and another thing, holding grudges. Introspective people, or not... Introverted people, man, they hold grudges for fucking ever. From my point of view, to translate it to an introspective point of view, it'd be like if you called somebody an asshole when you're both 5 years old, and then at the age of 40 you meet them and they're still pissed off. That's what it's like to me when somebody holds a grudge over you pissing them off or calling them a name for more than 2 days. But they just mull around in their own heads with their own feelings like it's everything. I don't have any solutions for this, but yes, I do believe that the internet is making people increasingly socially retarded. Oh shit, I'm talking to people on the internet. That's not going to go down smooth. Have a nice day.